2019 Suzuki Baleno Hatchback Review. The good points of Suzuki Baleno Hatchback: great building, good to push, practical, well equipped. The bad points of Suzuki Baleno Hatchback: pre-production cars driven, pricing being confirmed, some cheaper cabin plastics. This may be the Suzuki Baleno review, written some half a year before the car keeps going sale in spring 2016. We were invited to Spain to attempt some pre-production cars and form a primary evaluation. As you can see from the star rating, we came away impressed, both featuring its cabin design and how it drives. Third small car in Suzuki's range. It's a competitor to the Honda Jazz and Nissan Note, cars that contain a small footprint, roughly Ford Fiesta sized, but maximize their interior and luggage space with clever packaging. They're grown-up vehicles to get a grown-up crowd, which matches some way to explaining why Suzuki will sell it alongside the similarly sized Swift hatchback along with the smaller Celerio city car, each of which appeal to younger audiences. The Baleno represents a premium offering too, and even though pricing and equipment levels haven't been in effect yet, we've got the inner line from Suzuki for the likely kit offered. It produces interesting watching, having a 7-inch touchscreen sat-nav and reversing camera even with the base specification. No word yet on which trim levels will likely be called, either, but look into the equipment a part of this review for that lowdown about what we know thus far. Hard-wearing cabin. It's not perfect, though. The cabin does feature some cheaper filling plastics that appear of the lesser quality than some rivals. The flip side compared to that point is that they feel incredibly hard-wearing, so they're planning to stand examination of time regardless of whether they're not the last word in aesthetic grandeur. We were impressed with all the engine lineup too, having an all-new 1-liter Boosterjet turbocharged engine joining a single 2 within the all-petrol lineup. You've got manual or automatic gearboxes too, along with typical Suzuki fashion. They're all decent to push. Performance: 2 engines, manual and auto gearboxes. Engaging performance: there's a trio of petrol powertrains to be had here. Even though the Suzuki Baleno's performance figures haven't been confirmed yet, we came away impressed overall together with the way the engines and gearboxes drive. The 1-liter Boosterjet engine. This is our pick in the engines. It's an all-new 3-cylinder turbocharged unit that develops 100 bhp and 170 Nm between 2,000 and 3,500 revolutions per minute. We don't have performance figures for that Baleno at this time, but our tester made nearly guess of the 0 to 62 mph sprint in around 10.5 seconds. That isn't the surprising bit relating to this engine, though. It's the actual way it makes its power that impresses most. The turbocharger wakes up incredibly quickly, providing extra torque at 1,500 revolutions per minute and ramping up seriously quickly to its maximum 500 revolutions per minute later. This makes for the very exciting drive, as well as the boost continues frantically for the peak power output at 5,500 revolutions per minute. Choice of gearboxes with Boosterjet. Your gearbox choices for the 1-liter really are a 5-speed manual or possibly a 6-speed automatic, and both certainly their very own merits. The former tends to make an engaging enough drive, though together with the engine's revvy nature we'd have preferred a shorter throw involving the gears plus a nicer quality of knob. We actually preferred the automatic about the cars we drove, since it made the engine feel more responsive and gave the impression to marry using the car better. It's also far better they are driving than the CVT form of gearbox in certain rival cars, like the Honda Jazz, but there's a problem to pay regarding efficiency and running costs. It's worth noting how the cars we drove were very early pre-production models, over a few months before the true UK launch date with the car, and Suzuki's engineers claim there's more refinement ahead. The 1.2 Dualjet SHVS engine. Slightly less performance is available along with lower running costs when you pick the 1.2-liter engine, Its SHVS system would be the most notable thing here, which in place is a stop-start system featuring a supplementary battery to restart the engine. This drives CO2 output down, rendering it the choice for many who value the lowest possible tax bills. It goes with no turbocharger, which implies on initial prod, the throttle is quicker to respond as opposed to Boosterjet, but it's nowhere close to as exciting. The 5-speed gearbox mentioned above may be the very same unit, and subject on the very same ongoing development. No automatic is obtainable at this time. Handling: more comfortable than sporty. Easy to maneuver. Automatic handles best. Traditionally that is something Suzuki has excelled at, along with the Baleno does handle well. Sporty drives are better enjoyed inside the similarly sized Swift, though, with ride comfort higher about the agenda for this car. With that planned there's decent suspension travel, so inevitably a certain amount of lean within the corners, but it's not the end with the world. The reason is, we actually applauded its absorption of bumps and holes within the road, finding only larger obstacles thumping their way throughout the cabin. The steering isn't the last word in feedback, but it's precise and weighted well because of its target audience, offering easy parking thanks to a smaller turning circle and good visibility. We suspect more work will probably be done here too, but initial evaluation bodes well. Interestingly, we found cars equipped using the automatic gearbox and Boosterjet engine to get the pick in the bunch. This is because, presumably because on the extra weight in the self-shifting gearbox. This could easily change before we drive your vehicle on UK roads, though. Behind the wheel. Modern standard touchscreen sat-nav successful. LCD screen on dash displays information clearly. High driving position means good visibility. Overall there's a grown-up feel towards the cabin, with tough yet soft touch materials covering many on the surfaces. Some from the plastics aren't what you'd call stylish or modern, but we don't think customers buying such a car will mind, or indeed notice. They're more prone to applaud its resilient nature. The dash is of any conventional layout with all the rev counter about the left and speedo around the right, flanking a slick LCD screen that may clearly display several parameters, for instance trip computer information and in some cases the G-force experienced. Impressive infotainment system. We particularly like the conventional 7-inch touchscreen sat-nav and infotainment system taking pride of place high up for the center console. It's very easy to watch and responds well to touch inputs. We found the power to use smartphone commands like pinching and swiping an intuitive interface too. Tall driving position. It seems like you're sat superb up, meaning good visibility, whilst the seats can be supportive. We found the apparatus lever in manual cars under satisfactory with regard to shape and quality, though the rest in the controls feel well laid out. Automatic gearbox-equipped Balenos get paddle shifters behind the controls, that permits some manual operation, plus the gear lever is often a fairly conventional linear affair, though we found ourselves slotting the automobile into manual mode when setting off given it sits directly below the D position, meaning sometimes you ultimately choose it in error, especially in case you're in a big hurry. Comfort. Great seats. Dual passenger seat. The recipe is often a good one: supple suspension, supportive seats and also a refined cabin combined. To be sure, Suzuki Baleno comfort is one of the best in its class. We were particularly happy together with the lack of road, wind and engine noise at low speeds, the Boosterjet petrol making the best of it as a result of its easygoing nature below 2000 revolutions per minute. We found the passenger seat to take a seat relatively high compared on the driver's, even at its lowest setting. Equipment. Trim levels not confirmed yet. We get inside line from Suzuki. 2 trim levels, both well equipped. Since we drove this type of early version in the Baleno, Suzuki continues to be undecided on specific equipment levels with the UK market. In spite of this, we've spoken on the people in charge of such decisions, which enables it to give you a guide, if nothing at all. We're expecting 2 trim levels. We don't know very well what they'll be called yet, but strongly suspect they'll mirror the existing SZ lineup featured inside firms' other cars such as Vitara. We do realize that it'll certainly be a well-equipped car to compare against its shop price when compared to direct rivals just like the Honda Jazz. Standard Suzuki Baleno equipment. On offer even on the entry-level trim are going to be the 7-inch touchscreen multimedia system, including Bluetooth connectivity in addition to sat-nav along with a reversing camera. You may expect manual air conditioning and 16-inch alloy wheels. Top-spec Suzuki Baleno accessories. The top trim is anticipated to add a lot more luxury, with features for example automatic aircon and heated seats available. Optional extras. Suzuki isn't famous for going mad with options, and extras in many cases are limited to dealer-fit items, for instance roof boxes or bicycle carriers. You will have the options of 9 body colors, including 2 special metallic finishes. Safety. No Euro NCAP crash test score. Decent quantity of standard safety kit. More positioned on higher trim. It's too early for any Euro NCAP crash testing result at this time, though the initial signs are the Baleno will work well because of a strong structure and competitive safety equipment in comparison with rivals. There's a decent level of standard kit, with a lot more set being available on high-spec cars. All Balenos get 6 airbags, stability control and also a body shell that has been designed to work during impacts both with vehicles with pedestrians. Bluetooth connectivity for your multimedia system and also a reversing camera can also be part with the base spec lineup. Top spec cars read more safety kit. Top of the range cars buy radar brake support, ABS, which uses radar to detect vehicles directly in the front. It can then tell the automobile to do certainly one of 3 things: alert the motorist of an impending collision, increase braking force if the vehicle detects having a, and ultimately automatically applies the brakes to stop the auto. The radar system also enables an adaptive cruise control program, which we tested within the motorway and discovered smooth and to use together with the controls about the steering wheel. Interior and boot space. Boot among class leaders. High loading lip. Excellent rear headroom. While it doesn't have some on the features that make its rivals a real compellingly pragmatic decision, like the Honda Jazz's magic seats or even the Nissan Note's sliding rear bench, again we came away impressed using the Suzuki Baleno's practicality. The 355-litre boot makes its load space one in the biggest with this class of car, though we thought the loading lip looked high enough to produce heavy affordable handbags and effort to fit. Rear seat passengers is going to be pleased together with the amount of head space and legroom offered. This can be a car that may be easily adequate enough for 4 adults to search in comfort.